Hello everybody, welcome back to the Overton YouTube channel, and I don't know who needs to hear this, but this is very important. You don't have as much time as you think. Just because you're young doesn't mean you can wait before you get serious with God. We can't say, oh, I'll just wait till I'm 40, then I'll get closer with God. No, because that's not how it works. The 10 signs that are in the Bible tell us what to look out for and how to know that the end days are here. And all these 10 signs are already happening all around us, so we need to start committing now. It's Jesus or nothing. The first sign that we're going to be discussing is the increase of war and conflict. Matthew 24 verse 6-7 reads, "And you will hear of wars and rumours of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place. But the end is not yet, for nations will rise against nations and kingdoms against kingdoms." This not only tells us that there's going to be an increase of war and conflict in the last days, but that we should not be alarmed or fearful. We shouldn't be fearful, but we need to be aware. Jesus tells us that we need to look for the signs. When everyone was asking him about his second coming, he said, "Watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Christ, and will deceive many." There are wars going on everywhere. There's a war between Russia and Ukraine. China threatens Taiwan with war all the time, and there is an ongoing war with Palestine and Israel. In addition, countries like Iran are joining in with the war with Palestine against Israel. With so many countries that have nuclear weapons, nuclear war is becoming more likely in this day and age because of all of the conflict. Also, everyone siding against or hating Israel is also a prophecy in the Bible that is taking place right now. The second sign that we're going to be discussing is the increase of lawlessness and wickedness. More people around the world are participating in lawlessness and wickedness. Children are killing children. You'll hear of the many stabbings in areas of Croydon, England, and most of these stabbings that have been taken place are actually done by children or teenagers. Or maybe the countless robberies that have been taking place recently in large American cities. There were a few 14-year-olds who were recently arrested in Kent after performing an armed robbery in a shop. People in broad daylight go in groups, smash windows, grab whatever they can, and then they will leave. Shoplifting has actually increased by 64% in New York City. New York City is actually being plagued with multiple robberies, and there's also been an increase in violent protests all around the world. The funny thing is, the Bible already had these things prophesied and already written down. Matthew 24 verse 12 reads, "And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold." So it already talks about how there will be more lawlessness in the last days, and that's what's happening all around us. The third sign that we're going to be discussing is the persecution towards Christians and people mocking Jesus. People openly denounce Christianity in public. You can actually go and search TikTok, people who hate Jesus, or anything really. You can find people denouncing Christianity on lots of social media in public. And there are some Christians who don't even believe in the second coming of Christ. So there's actually a pretty funny video of this stand-up comedian actually mocking God, and then straight after she gets the consequences of that, which I'm going to be showing you.
I don't mean to brag, I don't care, but I want you to know, double vaxxed, booster, flu shot, and I'm going to be honest, I have the shingle shot too. And I still get my period. What? Yes! Traveled, went to Mexico twice, did shows, meet and greets, never got COVID. Clearly, Jesus loves me the most. Seriously. So nice, so nice.
And you may not feel particularly prosecuted as a Christian in the country that you are living in, whether that's the UK or the USA. But think about the Christians who are being killed for openly praying or saying that they are Christian. There are literally Christians in North Korea right now who have to hide their Bibles because they're not allowed to worship God openly. They have to worship the president. So there are countries all around the world who you're not allowed to be a Christian there. So just because it's not happening here doesn't mean it's not happening in other countries around the world. So we need to pray for those Christians and hope that they can one day get the freedom to, openly worship God. So the fourth sign that we're going to be discussing is an increase of false prophets and messiahs. Matthew 24:11, and many false prophets will arise and lead many away. There are many preachers of the gospel who preach for itching ears, trying to please man. But if you make yourself a friend of man, then you're making yourself an enemy of God. There are many false teachers who are leading people down the wrong paths. They're everywhere, on YouTube, maybe even on the street, maybe even in your church. And that's why we need to be reading our Bible and praying for discernment. And it's actually really sad to see these false preachers leading people astray, because there are just so many of them, and there are just so many scandals when it comes to Christian false teachers, churches trying to make profit and make money off of spreading a false message or trying to be a friend of man or whatever they're trying to do. An example of a very famous false teacher is Stephen Furtick. So he's done many questionable things as a Christian preacher, but we can get more deeply into false teachers in another video. But there's also multiple cults with people that are claiming to be Jesus. For example, there's actually a man in Africa who is claiming to be Jesus.
Meet the real Jesus Christ, a man who speaks to God directly. Owner of this church, and these 12 men you see here are his disciples.
Nikinzi umeuliza, ni wewe yule Yesu ama ni mwingine? Ni mimi yule Yesu Kristo, ni mimi.
This man is not.
It's actually quite unbelievable how many people he's actually tricked into thinking that he is Jesus, as well as he's got his 12 disciples and everything. So we just really have to pray for discernment, and we really have to be doing our research and be smart about these things, because Stephen Furtick is someone that I actually used to watch thinking that he was a good preacher, but actually turns out that he is a false teacher. So we always need to be doing our research and praying for discernment. So the fifth sign that we're actually going to be discussing is an increase in immorality and sexual perversion. This is actually a huge sign that is happening all around us. For example, you're not allowed to speak out or say your opinions on the alphabet community. Children are encouraged to be a part of the alphabet community, whether it's in schools or media. And it's normal to have songs about sexual things and having sexual acts being performed on music videos. There's literally a video of Lil Nas X doing a sexual act on the devil's lap. As Christians, we can't get caught up in all of this, and I heard this quote from this YouTube video that I was watching. I'll link the video or I'll put it up here. And he said that as the world gets darker, the light within us will shine brighter. And it makes sense, because you don't need a torch when it's bright. So as the world is getting darker, God is calling us because our light is needed. So the next sign that we're going to be discussing is actually more of a positive sign, and it's the increase of the spread of the gospel. Matthew 24 verse 14 says, "And the good news about the kingdom will be preached throughout the whole world, so that all nations will hear it, and then the end will come." This prophecy is just so true, and I've seen so many teens around the world spreading the gospel on platforms like TikTok and YouTube, and I was even drawn to start spreading the gospel on places like TikTok and YouTube to help teens like you on your journey to Christ. And some examples of young people spreading the gospel is Alex Frayne and Marpalo and many more people. And this is a really good one because since more people are spreading the gospel, there's more chances of people being saved. So the seventh sign that we're going to be talking about is the increase of knowledge. There has been a huge increase in knowledge. New technologies have been created, and platforms like YouTube and TikTok can provide us with information and can be used to share information and spread the gospel as well, which is good. Artificial intelligence has made a huge advancement in the recent year with programs like ChatGPT, Gemini AI, Artbreeder, and lots more. AI can be used to generate images, text, even video. However, we shouldn't only be striving towards this type of knowledge, but the knowledge of the gospel. We don't just need all of this empty information that we can get that is available to us like at the click of a button when we search on Google, but we really need to be learning about Jesus. So the eighth sign that we're going to be discussing is an increase in natural disasters. Matthew 24 verse 76 reads, "And there'll be famines and earthquakes in various places." There has been countless natural disasters in the recent years, whether we're talking about the wildfire that took place on February the 26th, 2024 in Texas, which was actually its largest wildfire in its history, or the earthquake of a 7.4 magnitude in Taiwan, killing 18 people and injuring 1,100. Or maybe you can even talk about the flash flood that happened in Turkey. And there's just so many other natural disasters that are happening all around the world, and it's actually really sad and scary to see. But we need to remember not to be fearful when these things are happening. And it's obviously easy for me to say that because I haven't experienced any of these natural disasters. Hopefully I don't have to in my lifetime, but obviously we have to trust Jesus. We know that he's coming back, and he's giving us these signs so that we can be prepared and aware, not so that we can be fearful. The next sign that we're going to be talking about is the increase of frequency and intensity of these signs. So the intensity of these earthquakes and these natural disasters, or maybe sexual perversion, or any one of these signs have obviously been increasing and are more frequent, which actually tells us that we are living in the end days. So Matthew actually calls these birth pains, just like placing straw on a camel's back. His back doesn't break straight away, but the pain on his back gets more intense and more closer together in short bursts. So maybe when he first started placing the straw on his back was hurting a bit, but the pain went away. But the more straw you placed on, his back started hurting more, and the pain started coming in closer bursts. So maybe 1 second after he just felt pain, he felt more pain and more pain. In contrast to when he first started getting the straw placed on his back. The last sign that we're going to be talking about is an increase in deception and false signs and wonders. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. This is the last sign that we're going to be talking about today, the deception and false signs and wonders. We need to be aware of this, as many people will come and perform miracles to lead us astray. We need to remember to look for the holes in Jesus' hands. Jesus can perform great signs, great wonders, great miracles, but we need to remember that people can actually use witchcraft to create something that looks like it's a miracle, that looks like it's from God, but it really isn't. Take a look at the false prophet claiming to walk on air. So it's just obviously really stupid, but some people actually still believe this. Or maybe we can actually talk about this pastor who pretends to bring this man back to life who apparently died during the service. So my interpretation of the last bit of the verse, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. The word elect reminds me of people in power. So like, elect, election. So people who are in high positions might also lead us astray, might be the Antichrist. You never know. So one example of this is the Pope actually allowing alphabet marriages in the church. So, yeah. So thank you for watching this video. It wasn't supposed to scare you, but really to warn you about the signs. So make sure to correct me in the comments if I got anything wrong. So we actually need to be looking for the signs so that we can prepare. We can't leave getting closer to God for the last second when we're 40 or when we're 50, when we feel like it's the right time. We need to start now. And remember, it's Jesus or nothing.